Welcome to Love and Relationships
Podcast. I said something.
With Mary and Liam.
Yeah.
And today we are here with Emilio.
Hi.
Hi, Emilio.
Emilio.
Hi, guys.
Emilio.
It's nice
Emilio.
It's nice to be in this podcast for the first time.
For the first time. This is the official Emilio, guys. The other one was the old version.
Yeah,
this is the evolved version of that same person.
This is like if Goku went Super Saiyan.
Exactly. It's with an I this time.
Yes,
Emilio.
I spelled his name wrong last time. I forgot the I. And so Emilio, he was on the first season of Love and Relationships podcast, and we were talking about a romantic topic for Valentine's Day about attraction and love and romance, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And we mentioned about social media and how he was pretty active on social media. And now we got some news to tell you guys that Emilio is not on social media anymore, and we want to talk about social media today and why Emilio decided to leave social media.
Is that the first question?
Yes.
Okay. I decided to leave because I was depressed and I wasn't feeling myself for quite a while, and I was using social media as an escape. But it was just that, an escape, but I wasn't really handling my problems, but I was trying to find distractions. And that's why I left social media, to get away from my distractions.
Mm-hmm. So you were overly active, I would say, before, because you were like posting often, like on social media, on Facebook.
Incredibly often.
Yeah. Comparing to like other people who are like maybe post like once a day or once a week, yours was like pretty often. And that's what I think one of the thing is that I noticed you, and then that's when I actually reached out to you and asked you if you wanted to be on my podcast. Mm-hmm. That was one of the reasons. So we want to talk about social media, how, pros and cons of social media, how I'm for social media, but I'm also like there are cons to social media. And Emilio, you say that, do you regret leaving, or would you ever come back?
I'd come back only to inspire people and then leave again.
Oh, interesting.
So I'd come back probably by the end of summer, just to say how many things I've done throughout leaving social media.
Okay.
Or I could come back next year, exactly 1 year from when I left, and I could make one post about how good my life's been or how much better I got. And then I'll leave again because there's no need for me to be on there.
Yeah, so I was just thinking about like how there's so many different things, because me and Emilio were talking about before this podcast about like distractions in our world, and how there's so many things that like ultimately can like take our focus off of God. There's like there's a scripture that says do all things to the glory of God. Given that's one thing I really do struggle with, but it's something I do think about often when it comes to like how we're using our resources. So with social media, like I can really understand that perspective, because like it's so easy to get carried away by like certain things, like other people's posts. Like I think even subconsciously one thing like that I found myself in is like comparing myself to others based on like the stuff that they're posting. But also just like like even just scrolling mindlessly, I find myself doing a lot. And I like Emilio's approach in the sense where it's like he keeps it for a very focused reason, and I think that's a good way to glorify God, like in the sense that if you're using Facebook as a platform to inspire others, I think that's really good, and that's one of the things I try to use my Facebook for as well. But yeah, I do admire that level of discipline, so I think that's really good. So
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem.
So for like pros of social media. Social media is really good. I like social media. It's a way of really connecting with other people who are like maybe far. It's just a good tool to connect with people, like writing to them, messaging them, seeing how their life is, like especially if you have like family far away or something, you want to know how they are, like how many kids they have had now, right? If they're far away, it's just a good way of keeping up to date with peeps and friends, and also just making friends and witnessing to others. So those are some really good reasons why you should have social media these days. And I feel like that it's an online world too.
Yeah, it's a good platform for connection, and I think ultimately, like, it's more about how you use it, right? Like, this is probably a terrible analogy, because, but it's the only one I can think of right now. You know how people say, like, guns don't kill people, people kill people? Where it's like, okay, that's like something that's way on the opposite end of the spectrum, but like it provides this concept of like, it's not the tool, it's how you use it that like makes the impact. So I think like there is that aspect, but like I think you need to assess like what your level of how I guess, well, the Bible talks about like having certain levels of like conscience, right? Like some people have weaker consciences, some people have stronger consciences. I think it's about like determining what your conscience personally speaks to you about like what you can handle on social media and what you can't, because I think there is like a lot of open doors for things, and you do have to be careful.
Then do you have any more pros, Emilio? Do you have any list of reasons why you should be, well, I guess you were saying how inspiring others, right?
I think it's good to inspire others. I think it's good to see people who are inspirational. Yeah. I think it's good to keep connected with people.
And I guess it's more of the newer way of connecting with other people. Like back in the day, it was more you see them in person, right? And now it's more like a social media world, especially during COVID.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, it's a way of keeping connection with others. So then let's list out the why you shouldn't have social media, because we don't want to be biased. We don't want to be like for social media, but we also want to be like, hey, there's problems with social media that we have as well. So for me, I would say that I can become like over obsessive in certain things, like just checking people's likes, like who liked whose post and picture. That can become like a little obsessive with me, and I do need to like distance myself, because I notice I catch myself doing that. And also sometimes you can find like people like flirting with each other, like, oh, does this person like this person, like on social media. That happens a lot. And also like people on social media aren't always real in real person. When you meet them in person, they're like not always the same. Sometimes they might be more social on social media, and then when you meet them, they're quiet. You're like, whoa, you're a different person on social media. What are some other cons or bad things about social media, guys?
I think it's a very, very good distraction. I think it's one of the world's greatest distractions, because most of the time you're looking at these people, who likes who likes this, who likes that. However, it's like you have all this time that you could be spending on yourself, learning a skill, doing something. You could be learning how to cook better. You could be going on more runs. You could be reading the Bible, getting your word from God. You could be actually communicating to friends in person, or even in a Zoom call, or any kind of call. This podcast is not sponsored by Zoom, by the way. You can call someone. You don't have to post on social media and have the whole world to see. And usually you post and not everyone really cares that much. You're just posting. No one really cares.
And that's what, since you have left social media, Facebook, those are pretty much things that you have improved, like in cooking, right? So you want to share a little bit what you have improved in yourself?
So since I left that, so I've erased a con of my life. It's been nothing but a convenience and a distraction to me. So I left something that was overly convenient and overly distracting, and from that I've learned how to cook. I'm able to run 2 miles straight without stopping.
Wow.
It's the 6th of May as we record this podcast, and I've already ran 8 miles this month.
Wow.
And I'm in the best shape of my life. I dropped like 20 pounds, and I'm happier from it, and I've been more mindful, more present in the moment when I talk to people and when I'm in situations than I ever was before. So I just think if you leave social media, from my perspective, in my case, it was getting the devil's grip off of me.
Whoa.
Wow. So that was a really big distraction. Even when you're with people, sometimes someone's on their cell phone scrolling through
Yeah,
social media.
that's
So
me.
that is a big distraction.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's like
I do that a
And-
lot. Ugh.
I feel like that you have really, like, you can just really motivate people to, like, you know, maybe even for a whole year give up social media at least, or a month or a week, or, you know, take a break. You know, you don't have to completely cut off social media, because I'm like kind of, you know, I feel like I need a balance. I do take breaks because of the whole getting obsessive over thing, and you know, it's kind of like you're bored, so you end up doing something. When you're bored or when you're waiting for something or someone, you go on social media, and then it's not really addictive for me, I would say, because like if I just do something else, I would totally completely forget about Facebook and social media. So I know I'm not addicted to that one thing, but I feel like that just because, like, if I have this open space or I'm waiting for something, I'm on there.
also,
And then it becomes obsessive.
Also, I want to add too, even the pictures you look at, like if you look at these social media, for example, on Instagram, you get these if you follow like fitness channels, you get these guys that are super jacked and most likely to take some form of steroids. Like if you follow Gymshark, those Gymshark athletes are all on something, I'm sure of it. And you get body dysmorphia. You think you can look like that, or you try to look like that, and you get the wrong advice, and then you don't eat, or you overexercise, or you, even if you're looking at the opposite gender, or if they're over sexualizing someone, and then it's like your thoughts of lust just hit you like a hammer on the head, and you just can't escape it. And then for a woman, it's the same thing. For other women who are these models, they get their own body dysmorphia, and they look at guys and they get their lustful thoughts. So it's really bad. It's really bad. And since I left it too, I have like way less lustful feelings.
Yeah, so that's good.
That's really good.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes people can really Photoshop photos too.
Absolutely.
So they look totally different in real life, right? So,
And then you look at that and you're inspired, and it's like, oh, I want to be like that, when that's not real.
Yeah,
And
so
it's just like,
you have to be careful with that, because
Yeah.
a lot of things aren't.
Actually, yeah, I want to add something to that, because I do know someone, I'm not going to say who, that has body dysmorphia. And like the amount of comparisons that happen on social media, and not only that, but it's almost like this competitive community that I've witnessed, where it's like they're all trying to like outdo each other, and it becomes this like constantly like stepping over each other just to achieve the perfect body. And it's like, you know, it's like these are standards that are not only subjective, but like, you know, it's just about respect. Like, you know, everyone's body is different and everyone's built different, but also it's like, it's just not right to like prioritize these things and step over each other. And, you know, it's like, yeah, I think social media can be a platform for things that like just really, like Emilio was saying, it's like it creates this like grip where it pulls you in and sucks you into this world where it's like, it's not the reality that you should be living in, but it depends like how deep you go, because, you know, like I think there's like filters that you can use for social media. Like for me, one of the first things I did when I became Christian was I filtered out like like Emilio was talking about, like lustful things, anything that would be open doors for like lust.
I didn't know that Facebook can filter. Like, is it through the privacy? Or?
Well, it's just about like the pages you follow and people you follow and stuff like that. Like, I try to be careful about, like, you know.
You'd have to unfollow a lot of things.
Yeah,
and
just
block even.
Just to be careful, you know.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. But if you take out that problem completely, then there's no problem.
Yeah, that's something I've been thinking about, because even still I find myself scrolling mindlessly, or even like the validation thing in of itself. I think social media has become a huge platform for validation, and it's something that, like, I've caught myself, like, with sharing memes or like even talking in group chats and stuff. I would feed off so much validation that, like, it became an addiction, and it's just not healthy for our minds, you know? So, like, in the sense of, like, what Emilio was saying, like, where it's like a once a year thing where you're just kind of updating your progress to inspire others, I think that's really good, but it's so easy to get sucked in. Yeah, you have to be careful.
It'd be crazy to just like show up 1 year with a family and 3 kids. Like, what happened?
Yeah. So that's why, in a way, social media like Facebook and stuff, that it's a good tool to connect with others so they know what's going on with your life. But if you totally want to, privacy and just, hey, you have to see me in person and we could talk. And
but that's more life, isn't it? That's way more life. I always ask God for life. Give me life.
That's really good, yeah.
And life is not looking down at your phone or posting. It's just enjoying with what you have now. And don't post about it. Don't brag about it. Just enjoy it.
Wow, yeah. That's, like, you see that in movies and everything where, like, people are always on their phone instead of, like, being in the present. And it really does make a difference. Like, when you're, because, like, I've caught myself, like, being in a good moment with people and just being so focused on, like, getting selfies and stuff, and it's like, why not just appreciate the moment? Like, it's for you, so it's like, if you have time to take a picture, go ahead, but I think you should just focus on being in the moment. That's a really good point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I think, like, it's good to still have it, but I feel like that it's a good idea. Like, what I do is I take breaks because I have to, because I notice that I catch myself being obsessive and, like, constantly checking or something like that to see how many likes I got, and I know a lot of people do it too, so I'm not alone.
You're not. At least.
Okay, so let's just talk about, like, boundaries on social media, like Facebook or Instagram, whatever you guys have. I only have Facebook right now. I kind of got rid of Instagram. Liam did too, right?
Yeah, I thought it was too much, but even Facebook can be, like, a huge distraction too, but I try to stick to just Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook's a little different than Instagram. Facebook has more, like, news too, and you could share, like, reposts, but Instagram is just mainly photos, actually.
Yeah.
So it's a little different. You don't see, like, news and stuff like that. Facebook is a good way of also, like, seeing the news, seeing what's going around. There is a lot of, like, videos, like, just random videos, just out of the blue, like, anything, which can be kind of cool because, like, we all like to watch stuff too sometimes. So but a few boundaries, like, I would have on Facebook is, like, if a guy's not my boyfriend, I won't have, like, a photo of him and me together. There's another one where I won't be flirting on someone's comment. Don't say inappropriate things. Don't say mean things. Because, your boss can even see that, actually, and you can get fired for that. So these are, like, good boundaries on social media that you should have. And, don't put inappropriate photos. What are a few other things that you should have if you have Facebook? What are some boundaries that you should set up for yourself?
I think with what you said, I think it would be a good boundary for more of your character, just not to be rude or mean and for comments or just flirting with people that don't want to be flirted with, and even in real life, you can do all of that. It's free reign out of social media to do that stuff too, but it's better to be a good person and to be Christ-like. And boundaries, I like that last one you said with the boss. Your
Yeah.
boss, your company can see
Uh-huh.
everything.
Yeah.
And you hire, and even if you have like, if you're friends with your boss and you have them on your Facebook, then you know they get to see you, and through that, their thoughts and feelings would change for you. They would think you're
Yeah.
the
Or if even
person that you
inappropriate
were.
photos
Even
too.
inappropriate photos, or what, even expressing yourself. You're expressing yourself on social media for everybody to see, and if you're not afraid of being judged, then that's really good. But mostly, I believe everyone has a fear of it, of being judged, and that does a lot to your self-esteem, especially if you have a photo or you do a comment and no one likes your comment, or no one likes the photo of yours, and then that will impact you no matter you like it or not. It just will. And it will remind you how it'll give you these reminders in your head. Satan will be in your mind telling you, oh, you're not likable as you thought you were. Oh, you're not that great of a person as you think. Oh, you're not as funny. That was a funny comment, but you got no likes, or no one laughed at it. And it just, you have boundaries, as in don't post so often. Don't think when you post that the world cares. They don't care that much. It's just my experience. I openly posted, and it just got me more depressed than I was. So just try to stay away from it. Try to enjoy the people that are around you physically, not across the city, not across the country. Even though it's nice to have a friend, check up once in a while.
Yeah.
But you don't need to see everything they're doing.
So like maybe that would be a good healthy boundary to not share everything that you're going through every day of your life on social media. Don't be like, I'm going for a walk today. It's such a nice weather. People would be like annoyed if you do that every single day, right?
I mean, if people are annoyed, it's their own fault. I mean, you can only, it's only how you react to it. But
Well, or if it might seem like you're
If you're
trying to
using
get
it-
attention, like, oh, I broke my finger or I hurt myself today, and then you're saying it often, and maybe
Yeah.
people might be like,
It's
okay,
like,
she's trying to seek
well, I
attention,
just-
or he's trying to.
yeah. I just did a backflip, guys. Believe me, I don't have it in video, but I just did one.
Yeah, or showing off, right? So maybe those are some boundaries that you might want.
Yeah, don't show off. Just be as real as you can.
That's just wow.
And try to enjoy the moment as much as you can, and be
Yeah.
off as much as you can. If you are gonna post something, do it in a tasteful way.
Yeah, I think that would be like the most godly way of using social media. Like Emilio was saying, be real, but in the sense that you're trying to develop connection with others. But even then, like, you know, like Emilio was saying, like it's so much better to connect with people in person and stuff. One thing I was going to add is with social media, something that I was convicted about from the beginning is not to cause others to stumble.
That's a
So
good
like your conscience could be clear about like something that you're sharing or liking or whatever, but you got to be mindful of how other people are going to see that, because like you could be trying to communicate one thing, but if you aren't careful, like you could give the wrong idea, right? Or even like with memes, I don't know, like sometimes you just got to be careful, right? Like,
So what do you think about if you're sharing a Christian post that some people might consider hate speech?
oh, see, yeah, like here's an example, like something political, right? Like, you got to be careful, because like you don't want to like stir up division and stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think some things are better meant, like even the Bible says, like, especially like, you know, it talks about like the food that you eat. That's an example too. Like some things are better kept to yourself, because if you share that and it interferes with someone else's conscience, then you're going to cause them to stumble, right?
Because we have to also remember, like, Facebook and Instagram is also like a public platform. So your boss can see it, you know, the government can have access to this. If you ever get arrested, cops can have access to it. So you want to be careful too
Yeah.
of what you share. You don't want to share anything that sounds violent, that sounds like hate speech, that sounds racist in any way. Even if you're not,
Yeah.
right? You might can come off as, even if you like something. Actually, I don't know if you guys heard of these things where like celebrities or people, I think it was on like Bachelor or some show anyways, that he liked something, someone's post on Instagram that came off as racist. So they called him racist for liking it. So maybe we even have to be careful what posts we like.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like 2 years ago before the show started. But see how much people are trying to find faults in others, right? Through a show and trying to destroy them. Destroy their reputation. So we got to be careful that social media can destroy people's reputation as well.
It can. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's interesting to think about. I just thought about this. If we didn't have social media, and but we still found a way to meet each other, I wonder if our perspectives would change on each other.
Mm-hmm.
I hope so.
I would think.
Like,
Yeah.
we would know less about each other. I wonder if it would be a better thing in some ways.
I think we would judge each other less because
That'd
I feel
be
like,
nice.
I feel like that people can meet through social media first. You kind of have a first impression of them on social media. Then when you meet them in person, you might have a different first impression. You might be like, oh, I thought this person was more quiet. And when I met them in person, they're loud. But maybe on social media, they were really like talkative on social media, but you met them in person, they're like super quiet, like they sound different. I had a different impression on social media, different impression in person. So for sure.
Sounds like a keyboard warrior, those people who are quiet in person but they're loud on the internet.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, because like Facebook or social media could almost become a refuge where it's like you're so comfortable being open on there, but like when it comes to personal
In-person,
connection, you feel awkward because like you don't realize, but sometimes like you're sharing more than, like, I can speak for myself, you share more than you realize is justifiable or even reasonable, and then when you're in person it's like, maybe I shouldn't have shared so much. But it's like, yeah, because I think you gotta be like mindful about that, because you don't want to make Facebook a refuge, right? Like, there's so much value in actually getting to know people, connecting with people one-on-one, and assessing different relationships individually instead of as a collective, where Facebook is like you're speaking to so many people at once if you're sharing posts, right? But there's value in developing individual connections, which is something you can do more of in person. So I think there's value in that. So yeah.
So I do have actually a little story I think I'm going to share. So it was my old job, not my work right now that I work at. So I think I'll share it. But there's this one cook in my old job, and he had Facebook, of course. So, but he had another job. He did he had his own food truck. I can't remember the name or whatever, but anyways, maybe I shouldn't mention the name because then you never know. Somebody might know him. So he actually called in sick that day at work, and it was a weekend, and he took a few photos and posted it on social media that he was doing his food truck business and how well it's going and stuff, and he ended up getting fired. So I think he had a coworker. He didn't have his boss on Facebook, but he had one coworker. The coworker told the boss, showed the photos. So I think that's kind of mean to do, to be honest. I would never do that. But yeah, you have to be careful who's also you're friends with on Facebook and social media. So you do have to be careful. So yeah, if you're definitely lying and called in sick, you gotta be careful. I did hear a few stories too. People they went on a vacation, they called in sick, and then the boss found out they're not sick. They lied. So we gotta be Christians here and not lie. That is, we gotta hold on to that 10 commandment, or the 10 commandments command. What number is it?
I don't know, but it's definitely not
9?
Christ-like to do that. So,
yeah. So
I don't know. I think, to be as much like Jesus as you can is the best way to go with living, even on social media.
Yeah.
Just be like,
exactly.
What would Jesus do? That's it.
Even on social media.
Would Jesus post this?
No.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But overall, I think social media is a good platform to make new friends, to connect with other people, especially if they're far away and you can't see them all the time, like if they live 2 hours away, especially during COVID. And it's also good just a good tool to reach out to people and talk to people, and to witness to others too. And hear each other's stories. Even it doesn't have to be only about Christ. It'd be like Emilio. He has so much, just inspiration from coming up from him that he could share with people, and he could share it on social media. But he's not on social media, so he is on this podcast, and this podcast is going to be online. It's going to be on the Apple Podcast, Spotify. So.
Really? Wait, is it actually?
Yes.
Wait, no way. It's on Apple and Spotify, but I only have one.
What? What am I gonna say?
I don't have a bunch, anyways.
I'm gonna watch it on Apple and Spotify and see if there's a difference.
Yeah. You can so easily become absolved with validation that you can't handle rejection, and there is many cases. Whether you're sharing like stuff about Jesus or not, you're gonna face a lot of rejection. You need to be willing to handle that, because I think especially on social media, people use it as a more honest space, because people are not as bold in real life as they are over social media, and that's one thing you got to be prepared for, and it's humbling too. I think that's a good aspect, is like if you can be willing to face that rejection, it can humble you, and it's good to remain humble with whatever you're doing. So yeah.
So we just want to give you a few tips of like what you can do to replace if you're addicted to like social media or scrolling or whatever, trying to break that habit by replacing it with something else, something more healthier that is good for you. So, want to share?
So yeah, I would like to share. So when I deleted social media, it's like it's interesting because I had a very deep prayer, and it was very deep. I asked God for life. Give me life, Lord. And in all your ways, in all your glory, because I believe we take this world for granted and the beauty of it, and just instead of looking around, looking on the screen constantly, and it's like the beauty of life is so beautiful. So I came to the conclusion through my prayers that I had to delete social media, completely erase it off of me and not use it. So I did just that, and the downside of that too was that I lost people that I used to talk to on there. There's a few people that I've only had connection through like Facebook and Instagram, and I've lost that entirely. But the connection wasn't strong. It wasn't that strong of a connection anyway. It was like something you lose, but it was like all my connections on social media was like faint connections. They weren't strong connections, and I had a problem with like gaining strong connection with people. So I deleted that in hopes that I would get stronger connections with people when it comes to friends and family.
And did you?
And yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
So my connections are more strong now with people because I'm more in the moment, and I can appreciate others and my time spent with people. Because when you're on social media and you like spend every day seeing a post, or you take them more for granted than if you see them once in a while, you're much more happier to see them, especially in person. Because I haven't heard or saw someone in like a month, and now I see them, I'm gonna be way happier than seeing them every day on the internet, where it's a lot more faint of a connection. There's less life there, and also so you get more connection with people. You get closer to God too, because God's life, God gives you that life with others too. There's life there. That's God, in my opinion. And then from that, you focus on what things you want to do. It's like, oh, I really want to be in shape. I'm not looking at my phone. Yeah, so I'm going to do push-ups every day and pull-ups every day. And
instead of what before you would go on Facebook.
Facebook, yeah.
Before.
And then you realize, oh wow, it's only like 2 p.m. I have 8 more hours. What do I do now? I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna go visit my family, talk to my sister for a bit. I'm gonna message a friend. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. By the time you do all that, it's only like 6 p.m. and you still have more time of the day, and you're not. It's just your day. 24 hours feels like a week for you, especially if you don't work and you have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Because for me, I work 7 days a week sometimes, and also so you're more present in the moment. You spend more time with family. You're away from social media. It does that. You get closer to God. You exercise more, and then you learn how to cook. You eat the proper food. Your health's better. Your mental health goes up too, especially connecting with God. So spiritually, physically, and mentally, everything
goes
up. So, and then as you're so high up in the sky, like metaphorically, you're looking down to what you were using social media. It's like, wow, that was literally gripping me. The devil's hand. You saw the devil's hand when you're so high. It's like when I started the year, I couldn't even run a mile, and I was overly using social media. Now it's the 5th month, the 6th day, and I can run over 2 miles straight without stopping, and I could probably run 3 if I really tried. So, and I'm down 20 pounds, and I can cook anything I want. Cooking's fun, easy for me, simple, and I cook complex meals, and everything I eat tastes good, and I know how to do everything in moderation. And God's with me, because I read the Bible every day. God's always been with me, and instead of distracting myself from God, I'm turning towards God now. Instead of looking on the phone, I have God.
Wow.
So
That's a lot. That's pretty good. Yeah.
It's quite that. So I'm improved. My life has improved tenfold.
That's really good.
So all I can say is, go on social media as less as you can. You can, on your phone, there's screen time on your phone for, like, Apple phone. I don't know about other phones, but you can screen time. There's like this setting on your phone to give you an approximate time for how much you use social media for, like, you can do 5 minutes a day and then cut it off from there. That'd be good advice. Or my best advice is to delete social media entirely and just do the things that you always wanted to do, and enjoy your life and live the way you want to live, and don't worry so much about what others think, because you can't, because you're not posting anything. And just get closer with God, get closer to who you are, who you want to be, not this person that you post, that you make yourself to be. Become a better person. Don't post about being one, become one.
Whoa.
So let's end it here, guys. All I gotta say is, don't use social media, but still use it to follow Mary and Liam. And but don't use it often. Actually, follow Mary and Liam, then delete your Facebooks. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But first, give them a follow before you do. But all I gotta say is, if you can use it as less as you can, then do. That's my advice. Try to enjoy the moment, become a better person, and listen to the podcast. It's great. Follow them on social media for the podcast. I mean, it's okay to use it. Just use it tastefully, and that's all, folks.
Yeah. So bye. Hope you enjoyed today's episode.
Bye.